Sorry, I think due to some technical issue, it got ended. The same link. It is the same link. You can join. Let's wait for 2 minutes. We'll wait for others to join, and I'll resume. Just wait for 2 minutes because unfortunately the stream got ended and people have left. So in 2 minutes we will start. If time will not be sufficient, don't worry. I'll cancel the test today. If time won't permit, I'll conduct test tomorrow itself on this object oriented programming. I have already made it ready, but if time don't permit, I'll conduct test tomorrow. Don't worry. Sricharan, you said same link isn't working, but how come you joined and others joined? Okay, okay, okay. I understood. Due to subscription, you people directly got this link. I understood. Okay, I just posted this link also. So the same thing even you people can do. If sometimes if it happens, actually this is the first time it happened to me because I have even conducted Wipro training to your seniors using YouTube live only. I did not have this situation encountered, but thanks for that. Anyway, you can just share the link also if sometimes it happens means. But anyway, I have shared the link, fresh link in your groups. Okay, Raviteja, I understood. You got it. It's as suggestions. Okay, then let's resume the session so that others will come and join because I have already posted this link in the groups, so they'll be coming slowly. Yeah. So the point, I think I stopped or the stream got stopped at this point when I was discussing about this double underscore init double underscore special function. So as I was saying, for all the classes, this double underscore init double underscore function will act as the constructor, and you know that what we are going to do with constructor. So you are going to perform the initialization of the variables so that when the object gets created, I mean when the object gains its life in the real world, whatever the initialized values it should have, all that initialization you are going to do it in this constructor. And as mentioned, not like in Java, I hope you remember in Java what we are going to do for defining constructor. You are going to use the method name as same as the class name without having any return type, and you call it as constructor, which you will be invoking at the time of object creation. The same way here also, at the time of object creation you will be invoking the constructor, but the special case what you find in Python is we don't define the constructor using the class name. So the double underscore init double underscore function acts as the constructor for all the classes, and this double underscore init double underscore function will be automatically executed whenever the object of class is being created. That means for every object you create, this double underscore init double underscore function gets executed, because each and every object is unique in its own way, even though they have the same characterization that is defined by the class, whatever might be its characterization, but still every object is unique in its own way, having its own values to its data members. So for that reason, every time we create a object, this double underscore init double underscore function gets executed. And coming to this special variable, here you can see self. So self is the special variable which has to be added with respect to each and every function of a class, even if it is a constructor also. This self is the special variable which has to be added as argument to each and every function of the class. And what does it represent? So this self variable contains the memory address of the current class. In simple, I can just make you understand, this is something like this keyword of Java. This is something like this keyword in Java. If you remember, this keyword refers to the current invoking object, and by default this will be passed as argument to every method or, or constructor of the class. That is in Java, but in Python you must make it manual argument. You must write it manually. That argument you have to write it. So this is the difference with regard to this keyword in Java and self variable, whatever we are passing as this to this function, not only to this double underscore init double underscore function, even to the normal methods also we have to pass this self. And it need not be self only, you can use even your name, but just remember, whatever the first parameter that you are including inside the method of a class, that refers to self variable. Whatever the first parameter that you are including in your method declaration of a class, that refers to self variable. And as I mentioned, it need not be self only, you can give even your name also, but just remember that refers to the self variable, which is nothing but that contains the memory address of the current class, and it is the same like this keyword which refers to the current invoking object in Java. So whenever you create an object, automatically you know that memory location will be created, and that memory location will be I mean that address will be passed to this self variable. That address will be passed to this self variable. Now here let us just add two variables n. Okay, something like role comma name. Since I have used the class name as student, so let us say roll number and name, and self dot role equal to role. Similarly, self dot name equal to name. So this is what I have defined. So what I am doing, I am initializing roll number and name of the student every time a student object is being created. So each time a student object is being created, I am initializing that student's roll number and name, and that's what I am defining in the constructor. And the constructor will be defined with double underscore init double underscore function. And let us write one more function, display. So I am writing a display function also, and then as mentioned, compulsory one parameter is required. Compulsory one parameter should be defined inside every method declaration, and that parameter refers to as self variable, which contains the memory address of the current class. So here I am going to just write print. Okay, simple role colon comma self dot role. This point should be understood because here I have to compulsory refer it as self dot role. You can't directly write it because uh, as you know that class data can only be accessed with the objects, and here self is the variable which is containing the address of my current class. Here self is the variable which is containing the address of my class, so that's why I'm saying self dot role comma, and then again single quotes, or else let's write in separate line, that will be good I think. So print name colon and then self dot name. This is how you will be doing in Python. I hope you understood this. So now let us create object to this particular class, and object creation in Python is very simple. You don't require to use the new operator, you can directly call the constructor. I hope you are following. Object creation in Python is very simple. You don't require to use the new operator. You can directly use the constructor. I mean, you can directly call the constructor. Suppose if my object is S1, so S1 equal to, I can directly call the constructor. And how do you call the constructor? Using the class name. This you know already. That's it. So you can see what we have done. S1 equal to student. So object is being created, and then here I am going to write S1 dot display, and I think you can understand if I do like this it will raise error, because here my constructor is expecting two arguments, and you know even in Java or Python it is the same. When you don't define your own constructor, the compiler, I mean the Java virtual machine or the Python interpreter are going to add the parameterless constructor only when you don't define your own constructor. But when you define your own constructor, it is responsibility of you to call your own constructor. And here we have defined our own constructor, and the constructor is this one. I already mentioned double underscore init double underscore is the constructor for every class. So, and it is expecting how many arguments? It is expecting how many arguments? This particular constructor of my class student is expecting how many arguments? Is it 3 or 2? So it's only 2. I said self is the first argument which first parameter which we are writing only to refer to the current address of my class. It's not the actual parameter. So here this constructor is taking 2 arguments only, that is roll number and name. Coming to display, how many arguments it's expecting? No arguments. So here I have to pass this roll number, let me say 1 comma, and then let me just give name some Krishna. Now I think it's perfectly looking. Okay, let me just save it. Just give me a second. So I'll just give as, okay, sample 1 I'll give. Okay, now let's execute this, the command F5. So here you can see, and I think even this thing you understood. It's not mandatory that you have to save the file name as exactly as the class name. Like in Java, you do remember that we will be saving it with the class name now, but in Python it's not required. In Python it's not required, so you can directly use any name of your choice. So that's the reason, even though my class name is student, I have saved my file name as sample1, and then here you can see it's just displaying roll number 1 and Krishna. Similarly, if you want, you can also provide some default arguments, so that if anybody tries to create object something, let me show you. I'm just saying unidentified. Here you can see role equal to unidentified and name equal to unidentified. Just For you making you understand, I'm just writing. So like this, you can even set the default values also. So name equal to unidentified and role equal to unidentified. I've just provided two default values so that if somebody comes with like here you can see what I'm doing. S2 equal to, now I'm just invoking student, and then let me display this also. S2 dot display, and let me press F5 and see. So now you can see what is happening. So if roll number and name are being provided at the time of object creation, those values will be initialized by the constructor. If the values are not provided, the default values will be set for that particular arguments. So in real time, this is how we will be doing. In real time, we won't create constructor without default values. Just remember this point. In real time, we will not be creating constructor without default values. So here you can see what I have done. I have created class student, and then I have defined my own constructor, that is double underscore init double underscore represents the constructor, and then self is the special variable which contains the memory location of the current class, and then two arguments whose values are initialized to some default values, so that when the object of this class is being created, and if they don't pass the expected values, then automatically we are going to set them to default values, because here there should not be any garbage value concept. That's the reason. So in real time, this is how you will be doing. You don't create a constructor without setting the default values to the arguments. And here now you can see what is happening. So I have created S1 object and I have passed roll number and name. Those values are being initialized to my S1 object. But coming to S2, you can see here I am invoking this constructor only. I mean this two parametered constructor only. But still I am not passing the values whose values will be initialized to the values set by the constructor. So my constructor have already set some default values to role and name. So those values will be set to the S2 object. So that's what you can see: role unidentified, name unidentified. So this is what the advantage you will be having with this constructor. I hope everyone understood so far whatever I have discussed. Now let us see how we are going to implement inheritance and polymorphism in Python. So you already know that what is meant by inheritance. So inheritance is nothing but transfer of characteristics from one class to the other classes. This is what in simple you can just understand with regard to inheritance. Transfer of characteristics from one class to other classes. And how many classes the characteristics can be acquired? Any number. There is no restriction. Any number of classes can be inherited from a single class. And again the same kind of inheritances whatever you studied with Java, you can have single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance, multiple inheritance, all that the same style. You can just try and explore all the various types of inheritances. But let me quickly show you how you are going to perform inheritance in Python. So here I'll just show you simple thing like okay, let me define another class. So and let me just say stud, because I don't know what to do. So in this, within the brackets, you are going to mention the class name from which it should be inherited from. It's very simple than compared to Java, because in Java you will be using the keywords, extends, implement, something like that, na? But here you don't require anything. So after declaring the class name, within that class name brackets, you are going to mention the parent name. This is what simple in Python. So after the class name will be followed by parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, it is going to contain the parent name. So here you can see class stud I mentioned, and then I just said student. Automatically what it will be understood. So this is the stud whose parent is student. Automatically student becomes the parent class, stud becomes the child class, something like that. Now the same way, if I want to add one more constructor to this. It's very simple. So let me define my own constructor to this so that you will better understand. So double underscore, and again here self, and then here let me roll number name. Okay, let me just add branch equal to, okay, let us make the student as default CSE group. Let's make the student default as CSE group, and then here what we'll be doing. So even this stud, which is the subclass to student class, so what I want to do is I want to make this object also to have roll number, name, and branch. So for that, already my parent have defined the constructor which is initializing the roll number and name. So how do I call it? So I hope you remember super. In Java you have studied super, na? The same thing here also we can use. So that is how you will be doing. So super, and then okay, here also what you should do is, here also we have to define that particular things. These things we will be defining. Let me just copy it and paste it here, but with only difference, I'll just call my super constructor for initialization. I'm not going to do that initialization. So super dot double underscore init double underscore, and then within the brackets, what are the arguments you are supposed to pass to that? Role and name. That's it. That means this roll number and name gets initialized there. This roll number and name gets initialized there. That's what the point which I'm trying to tell you here. And remaining thing we are going to initialize here. That is, branch is exclusive variable which we have taken here now. So that we will do it here. So branch equal to branch, whatever the variable. So this is similar to your this keyword which you have used in Java. I hope you can recall that. This dot variable equal to variable you will be writing now. The same thing here I am using with self. That's what the only thing you just need to remember. Again here I just copy this same method, define display, and then only thing I'll just change it is I'll just make this as 1, and then I'll just add one more field here, that is branch I wanted to display now. So I'll just invoke that also. I think indentation problem here. Yeah, and here let me just change this to branch, and here again self dot branch. Okay, so now let us create objects for this and see how it works. So s3 equal to, now I am going to create object for stud. I'm creating object for stud, and then here okay, again s3 dot display 1, because that's the function which I have defined in my, you can even call display. I think you can understand that. You can even call display, no problem. But display, when you are calling, you just remember that it only displays your roll number and name. But display one, when you are calling, it will display you roll number, name, and branch. That's the only difference. Similarly, let's create one more. S4 equal to stud, and then S4 dot display 1. And what we do is, again in S3 we shall pass the arguments. So 2 is the roll number I am giving, and some Kumar is the name I am giving, and let me give the branch as ECE, something like this. So I just want you to carefully observe here. So here what I have done in this program is I have created a class student, and in that class student there is a constructor defined of its own with roll number and name, and then the roll number and name are being initialized at the time of object creation, and then roll number and name are set with some default values, and then there is a display function, sorry, method you can say, I already mentioned. So if it is inside a class, we refer it by method. That's the only point. So I have a display method which is just displaying that particular roll number and name. And here you can see S1 and S2, two objects I am creating, where S1 object is created with roll number and name. S2 object is created without giving roll number and name. Similarly, I have taken another class STUD, and then in the brackets I am mentioning its parent name. Automatically it becomes the child of it, and then here I am writing this child constructor, and then it's taking three arguments: roll number, name, and branch. And roll number and name are already initialized by its parent, so the same initialization it is invoking by using this super. So this is how you use super in Python. Super brackets dot double underscore init double underscore roll comma name. Automatically that super constructor will be invoked, and then if it is variable, I think you can understand it, super dot, no need of brackets, super dot. If it is method, again super brackets dot that particular method name you can call it. So this is what I am doing, and then display one function which is just displaying all three values, that is roll number, name, and branch. And then again I am created S3 object and S4 object for STUD, that is the child class. And okay, this I have passed in display, sorry. This I have to write it inside constructor, na? Yeah, it's looking good. Now let's run this and see. So here you can see what is happening. From the output you can just interpret the things. So roll 1, this is from S1 object. These two lines are from S1 object. Above you can see that is from the parent object. So roll number 1, name Krishna, and then here you can see roll number that is for S2 object, roll unidentified, name unidentified. Next, this is these three from S3 object, roll number 2, name Kumar, branch ECE. And coming to the S4 object, here you can see, since we are not passing any values, roll number unidentified, name unidentified, but branch is CSE. Roll number and name are unidentified, but branch is CSE. So this is how you can just implement inheritance in Python. I hope everyone understood how you will be inheriting inheritance in Python. Suppose if you want one more level of inheritance, what you can do? I hope you can understand it. So class, and let me say STU, and then here I can say STUD, and then colon. Now what do you interpret from this? So student class, the topmost one, student class is the parent of STUD, and STUD is the parent of STU. And what do you call this kind of inheritance? Multi-level inheritance. This is called multi-level inheritance. So I don't want to get into these details because you are already familiar with them in Java. It's the same forms of inheritance: multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. Like hierarchical inheritance is very simple. If I am just making this also as a child of student, automatically it comes as hierarchical, where my student class is having two children. It is having two children. But the point to be noted here is it's not multiple, because each and every class is having only one parent. Only thing is, student class is having two children, but class is having only single parent. So this comes under the example of hierarchical inheritance. And coming to multiple inheritance, what you can say is, here you can say STU brackets, you can write both the class names. That means it is having two parents. So like that you can define multiple inheritance. So I don't want to get into those details of forms of inheritances, but I hope you understood how you are going to create a class, how you are going to define a constructor with the use of double underscore init double underscore function, and how you are going to create objects. Object creation doesn't require new operator. Directly you can call the constructor. You can directly call the constructor, and yeah, inheritance is also very simple. So after declaring the class name, within the brackets you are going to mention the parent name. After declaring the class name, you are going to mention the parent name. As simple as that. This is how you implement inheritance in Python. Now let's go for another understanding, that is Let's see for polymorphism. Very quickly, I'll show you how polymorphism is being implemented. But I think you can understand about polymorphism because in day-to-day also you'll be seeing. First, I'll show you built-in polymorphism which we are using. Let me just clear my console. And here from console itself, I'll just show you how we are uh, implementing polymorphism. I'll just show you quick built-in things like length of hello. What will the output be? Any guess? So it's very simple. So when you ask for length of hello, automatically you know that the output will be 5. Now, similarly, if I say length of, okay, before that what we do is let's create a list a equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me stop here because now let's say length of a. Now what will be the output? So this is the simple built-in polymorphism you can tell. This is the simple built-in polymorphism we have. Yes, the answer given is correct. So this is the best example what we can understand with regard to polymorphism. So length is the built-in function. You can see how length is taking string as argument and returning the length value, and length is taking some collection and then returning me some value. And similarly, operator overloading also you already know. Suppose if I have x equal to 5, y equal to 7, and similarly let me take a equal to hello, and b equal to world. Now you can see here, if I say x plus y, so you can understand by this. So when I am saying x plus y, what is it doing? It is summing up and giving me. Now if I am giving a plus b, the same thing, now it's not summing up, it is concatenating and giving me. So these are some built-in examples that we can understand what polymorphism is about. I hope you can see from these examples how polymorphism we can have. So single method behaving differently with respect to the inputs passed. So that's what the simple thing. And very quickly I'll show you this polymorphism. I think you know this already. So within the class also you can define the same things. So within the same class, if you are having two definitions, so class sample2 something like that I'm just defining, and then definition, and then let me say add of x comma y, and then return x plus y, and next definition add of x comma y comma z, and then let's return x plus y plus z. I think for some of you, you feel that we already know this, but let me just tell you. So okay, let me just take object s equal to sample. Okay, 2 is my class name, and then s dot. Okay, since I'm using return, let me use print function here so that the output directly I'll be getting it. S dot add of 3 comma 4, and the same thing I'll add with one more argument. That will be better. Control C. Let me use Control V, and here I'll just use 3 comma 4 comma 5, and okay, let me not waste time for saving all these things. Let's run this and see. So here F5, what happened? S dot add. Okay, okay. Here since I'm using classes, we require self argument. I forgot that. Just now I mentioned. So self argument is required here. missing one required positional argument. Let's clear the console and see. S dot add of. Okay, I think overloading in Python we can't do it inside class. I think otherwise. Let me quickly run this and see first. Sorry, no need to save. Once again, let me just run this. Add missing two required positional arguments. Still it is saying the same. Oh, now no need of self. Every change we make, we need to be careful. Whatever the things we are adding and deleting. Let me once again run this. Still it is saying one required argument. Just hold on. Just give me a second. Return of XYZ. Okay, I think we cannot do this because by default, in Python, okay, since I got this error, I am just telling you, by default, what happens is Python is a interpreter, na. So interpreter, it will be executing line by line. So what is happening is here, if you are writing define add of x comma y like this, and immediately after that, if you are writing define add of x comma y comma z like this, automatically what happens? By the time it comes here, Python remembers, I mean the interpreter remembers the latest definition only. Python is an interpreter since it since it finds this as the newly processed definition, so it remembers only this. So that's the reason it's not able to process this. So overloading, whatever I said with class, that is only correct. Let me just check what is the error. Did anyone find what's the mistake I'm making here? S equal to sample2. Fine. S dot add of 3 comma 4. S dot add of 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay, otherwise let me just initialize to 0. I'll just see if by initializing to 0 if it comes. I'm just going by control S since I'm used to that. Okay. Okay, now it's coming. So initialization is must. Sorry for that delay. But anyway, this is the point we need to remember. So overloading, you can do it only inside the classes. If it is not classes, definitely there is no point of overloading. If it is not classes, there is no point of overloading. I hope you are able to understand that, because earlier case when I have removed class, automatically what is happening? This first definition is being forgotten by the Python interpreter after it have seen this particular definition. So I think even this can be one of the questions that you may encounter during your placement exams in Python. Since it is an interpreter, you cannot have definitions defined outside the class, and you can't call them as overloading. You can't call them as overloading. So I hope you can understand that point. So here now you can see what is happening. So here what is the thing is, since we are not initializing the things, so you have to define the default values. So after defining default values, you have seen this, how you got this. I hope you got this point. Let me just close this. Documentation window got opened. Yeah. So here s dot add of 3 comma 4, the first one getting executed. S dot add of x comma y 3 comma 4 comma 5, the second function got executed. So this is what overloading example. Let me quickly give you the overriding example now. So overriding example, okay, I'll just do here itself. Yes dot let me, so okay, what I'll do is I'll just split this into second one. I think that will be better. This function I'm going to define in and let's create one more class sample3, and then control V, and then, and when do you say overriding? When both are having same definition na? So let me just try this. I haven't tried actually. Yeah, it's working. So this is what, here you can see how I have done the overriding. So the same add whatever I have shown you with console na, the same thing I have shown you here. So here you can see sample2. Oh sorry, in the brackets I haven't actually, I should use this subclass na, then only we can call it sample3 as subclass. Yeah, anyway output will be same, but if I don't inherit it, you don't call the concept of overriding, because overriding comes into picture only when you are overriding comes into picture when you have parent and child defined, and whatever the parent have defined, that definition being overridden by the child, that is only the point where overriding comes into picture. So here you can see now sample2 is parent class, which is having a function add, and it is having the values initialized to 0, indicating it is numbers, and then we are just returning the sum of the numbers. And coming to sample3, within the brackets here you can find the parent class name, that is sample2, and here you can see the add method x and y initialized to empty string. Automatically you can understand that the input are going to be concatenated. So I'm creating object for the child, I'm creating object for the child, and here you can see I'm calling the add method. First time I'm passing two numbers, the second time I'm passing two strings, second time I'm passing two strings, and here you can find the output. So first this particular thing got executed from the parent add method, this particular thing got executed from the child method. I hope you got this point. So this is how you are going to implement polymorphism, that is overloading and overriding in Python. I hope everyone understood the use of inheritance and polymorphism in Python. Now let me quickly tell you about the access specifiers. So I hope you remember the access specifiers in Java. How many access specifiers do we have in Java? How many access specifiers do we have in Java? So nobody responding. Yeah, thanks for the answers. So four access specifiers we have in Java, that is default, public, private, protected. But in Python we have only three access specifiers. In Python we have only three access specifiers, that is public, private, and protected. So far we haven't used any of the access specifiers, but the default access specifier is public. In Python, the default access specifier is public. This point need to be understood. In Java, the default access specifier is default. In Java, the default access specifier is default. But whereas in Python, the default access specifier is the public. So we have only three access specifiers in Python. And I hope you remember why we use these access specifiers. So access specifiers basically define how the class members, that is both data or methods of the class, how the class members can be accessed within the class and from the other classes. That's what these access specifiers will specify. So the main role of access specifiers is to define how the members of the class should be visible. That's what the purpose. And as mentioned, default access specifier in Python is public. And you know what public is meant for. So public members are accessible from outside the class through object. Whereas protected members, they are accessible from outside the class through the object of child or subclass. I hope you remember these definitions. Even in Java, you have a simple table representing this particular access specifier 3 by 3, 4 by 4 in Java. Here you can think of 3 by 3. So public scope is in the same packages as well as in other packages. But protected scope to everyone in the same package, but to children in other packages. Private scope only within the class. I hope you remember these definitions. Once again, I tell you, public scope is throughout the same package as well as in other packages. Protected scope is throughout the same package as well as children in other packages. Private scope is only within the class, not even to other classes of the same package also. This is what the simple points you can just remember with regard to the public, private, protected access specifiers. And we don't use these keywords, public, private, protected, like this. We don't use the keywords. But instead, how do you define variables as public, private, protected is? So now here, when I am not using the variable with any thing, then automatically we refer to that as public only. Okay, let me just by default I am getting this. Sorry for that. Okay, let me use this example here. Now what I'll do is, here you can see this role and name. This role and name, here you can refer them as public. Here you can just refer them as public variables. By default, the variables that you declare are public. Now, how do you declare? How do you declare protected variables is, okay, so that you don't get confusion, I'll just copy it here, this particular code. So okay, I'll just take this. And here I'll put it. And here what I'll do is self dot underscore. Self dot underscore. Just observe this, what I have done. So if you prefix a variable with single underscore, if you prefix a variable with single underscore, that variables are said to be protected data members. It's very important. I hope you are following. So if a variable is prefixed with a single underscore, that variable we call it as a protected variable. Here role, before that I have given a single underscore. Name, before that I have given a single underscore. That is also a protected variable. Similarly, if I prefix a method with a single underscore, that is a protected method. So in Python we don't have these keywords being used. It's only with the help of this prefix underscores it is understood whether it is a public, protected or private. So if the variable or method of a class are not prefixed with any underscores, they are said to be public. So in a class, if the variables or methods are not prefixed by any underscores, they are said to be public. If the variables or methods are prefixed by single underscore, they are said to be protected. They are said to be protected. If the variables or methods are prefixed by double underscore, they are said to be private. They are said to be private. I hope you are able to understand this. I'll show you very quickly before I wind up the session. So test I'll be conducting tomorrow morning, because today we are running out of time. So test I'll be conducting tomorrow morning. So here you can see now, two underscores if I'm using, that is private. If I'm using single underscore, that is protected. So here I'm using protected now. Now what I'll do is, let me just quickly create a child of it. So class stud, and in the brackets student. I just want you to observe how we are using them. And let me use simply pass keyword. I think you know about this pass keyword, because control structures, when it is completed, you must have been explained about that. I don't want to get into that now. So s equal to stud, and then okay, and then okay, let me just try to display the roll number very quickly. Print of s dot roll. Okay, let me run this and see. As no attribute role, I think I require this constructor at least, and call that super. That's what I thought. Yeah, let me copy this, otherwise that's better. Yeah, now I am calling my parent now. That's the point here. Let me use here also underscore, and then yeah, now it should work. Student has no attribute role, still the same thing. Okay, 1 second. I think not required here. Just give me a second. Actually, there we don't define it actually. Dot role. Just a second. So it's saying attribute error. Actually, attribute error, it should come if it is private actually. But even for if it is a private variable, actually this subclass will not be having the access. But even for subclass, it is telling. Stud of thing. Has no attribute role. We don't give underscore at the time of declaration actually. That's what it is saying now. In the parameters, we don't specify that. In the display method we need to add the underscore, but anyway I'm not using the display methods now. Here okay, but I'm not. Okay, okay, here you are saying test dot underscore role. No, I don't think so. This we don't do this. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Bhavani. So yeah, when I'm displaying also, I should use that particular underscore. Yeah, this is how you are able to get it with. Okay, okay. Anand also have provided that. Thanks for that. Yeah. Similarly, if I use a double underscore, let me quickly change it to double underscore. And now, if I try to access that, it should give this attribute error now. Yeah, this is expected. So we know this access specifiers anyway. So if I use double underscore, that is for private. If I use single underscore, that is for protected. If I don't use any underscores, then it is for public. I hope everyone got to understand this particular access specifiers in Python. So this is how you will be using access specifiers in Python. Okay, uh, I'm done with whatever I have prepared for this particular session. Since time is there, since the test is only for 3.5 minutes, quickly I'll open this quizzes, write it now itself. That's better rather than postponing it. After completing the session, it will be very easy for you. Quickly, I'm opening the test, start it, and leave the session. You can just take the test, start it, and leave the session. I don't want again to postpone this. Immediately after listening, it will be better for you to appear for the test and leave. You can just do it in 3.5 minutes and leave because it's only 10 questions now. I'll end the test exactly in 5 minutes. I'll end the test in exactly 5 minutes. Come fast, do the test and leave. Kindly come only with your roll numbers. Otherwise, I'll be deleting it. In another 1 minute, I'll start. Those who are still waiting, come fast. In another 1 minute, I'll start, and within 5 minutes, I'll end because I have to start session for EC also. Okay, here we go. I'm starting it. Within 5 minutes, I'll end it. So kindly check the answers and give your answers. Last 1 minute to end the session. Those who are still doing, make it fast. Only 1 more minute because I have already extended my time and even I have session for ECE. So those who are still doing, kindly do it fast. Last 1 minute. Congratulations, Kirti, Sricharan, and 503. So that's it for today. Let's meet for tomorrow's session. Thank you and bye.